Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 18 of the Resilience Reflex Show. And I'm your host, Zaheen Nanji. Well, the last episode that we had so much fun, and here we are, a new year, and it's the end of the month in January. Where did January go? I know that the last episode was all about how the year went for us in 2015 and what to look forward for in 2016. And if you missed that, then you better go to zahinnanji.com. So you see that right here, zahinnanji.com, and go to the Resilience Reflex Show, click on episode number 17, and listen to me and other women that were in the panel that talked about their ups and downs for 2014. And then they talked about how they're looking forward to 2016 and making sure that they meet their goals. Today, we are going to talk about change and embracing change. And before I go there, I wanted to let you know that we're changing the format of the show. So Kathy, my co-host, and I, we decided that we would do our shows more like a mini webinar where we're giving you the information that we think will help you. And we may bring in a guest once in a while, but most of the time we want to add value to your life, whether it is in the area of business or if it's in the area of just career, health, things like that. So that's how we want to help you. If you've noticed too, my lower third, which is my information, has changed, and I have a new gift for you. And if you look at the top, it says 7 Habits of Resilient Women. It's a nice guide that you can download for free on my website, zahinnanji.com. Okay, so I'd like my co-host Kathy to come on and introduce herself. Hey, Kathy.
Hi, Zaheen. How are you tonight?
Good, thanks.
Really looking forward to tonight's show. What a great topic.
Thank you.
Especially at this time of year.
Yes, and I know I know you also took a peek at my opt-in gift, so thank you for that.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Tell the viewers all about yourself.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Kathleen Caldwell, and in my practice as a registered holistic nutritionist and health coach, and using simple tools and simple steps, I help women to lead a beautiful life of abundance, self-care, and show them how to live health naturally.
I like that. Yes. And it's interesting that you also work with women who want to take care of their health and want to be at their prime, even at an age where they think, well, I find a lot of women think that they can't, or that their time has passed. But knowing you, Kathy, I know that you're just going gangbusters with your
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's never too late, right?
Absolutely not. No, never say I can't do it or no. If you want to do something, go for it.
Okay.
You can do it. Absolutely, at any age.
Good. Okay, so what we're going to do is go straight into change, and I wanted to talk first about the 7 universal cycles of change, and I'm going to share the screen with you and show you a diagram that was developed by my mentors and my coaches when I took NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and it was by Tim and Chris Hallbaum, who own the NLP Institute of California, and it's nlpca.com. Now, I first met them when I took their Wealthy Mind training, and I learned about the universal cycles of change then. And just to give you a little intro, Tim and Chris, when they came up with the cycle, they said that this has been going on, the cycle of change has been going on in the universe and on Earth for 30 billion years. So why are we so scared of change when it's happening from billions of years ago? So if you look at nature, if you look at history, change is always happening, and it's happening naturally. And so here, as I screen share, you'll notice, and it'll take some time to go into the PowerPoint mode. So there we go. So Kathy, can you see the screen?
Yes, I can, Zaheen.
Okay. So if you notice, there is 7 phases: creation, growth, complexity to maturity, turbulence, chaos, droppings off, meditation, and dormancy. Creation is the first phase here that you see, and this is all about new beginnings. Where, for example, if you're starting a business, if you're starting a relationship, if you're having a baby, right? Those are all starting points of creation to something. Growth here is about where the system that you're working with, right? Whether it's your business, whether it's a relationship, is starting to grow and develop. The third one, complexity to maturity, is where the system that you're working with is starting to take shape. And this is when the system is in its steady state. Now, when I say a system, it can mean a living system or a non-living system. So, living system is, of course, animals, humans, plants, trees, and things like that. A non-living system is your car, your computer, things like that. Turbulence, which is down here, is all about where now something is starting to shift, where the system is becoming too complex in its growth. Problems begin to develop, right? And something has to shift for it to go on becoming steady. But if it doesn't, then what happens is we go into chaos right there. Chaos is good, it's not bad, but I find that there's some living system like to live in chaos. And chaos will occur if we let the system fall apart. However, if we realize that we need to drop something off, which is the 6th phase, and we drop something off to let the cycle of change continue, then we'll go into dormancy and meditation. And then we go into creation. Dormancy meditation, honestly, to me, it's about improvising what you learned from your chaos. So, for example, if I went through chaos and I dropped something off and it worked, I look back and I go, what worked for this to go back into a steady state? And sometimes then we go back into creation. So while this is still on here, I'm just going to give you an example. So if you look at a tree, right, the creation starts from a seed, and then it grows and grows, and a time comes when the plant is at its steady state, okay, which is the 3rd phase, complexity to maturity. But then the weather turns, fall starts to come in, and something happens to the plants, especially in North America and where we live. it starts to go through some kind of turbulence, and then chaos sets in as the weather gets worse and worse. But it knows it has to drop off its leaves for it to go into meditation and dormancy in the winter. And then again, when spring comes, it starts to create again. So that makes sense, Kathy?
Absolutely, that's beautiful.
Okay. So, I think we should also do another example. And I think a good one is when I talked about a relationship. And I found that creation was when my husband and I first met, and we created a bond. And then it grew and grew, and that was the growth phase. And a time came, which is now the 3rd phase, complexity to maturity, where I found that we're at a place in our lives where we feel that we're made for each other and we want to spend the rest of our lives together. And so we got married and we moved in. Turbulence set in and everything started to go, okay, you have to do this, you have to do that, I have to do this. And things, like the habits that we weren't, used to each other. And we started to have little arguments, right? And then chaos would set in when we would have the arguments. And then we realized, okay, this can't continue on. We have to talk about our habits, our attitudes, and how we can work this out. And so in droppings off, we drop off some of our habits, we let go, we implemented new ones. For example, I when it comes to laundry, I think it's good to share. So he hates folding. I like folding, but he likes doing the laundry. So I let him do the laundry and I'll fold. so that's how we decided to make this work. Okay. And then came the dormancy stage where things started to just be again in its zone and we started to improvise, right? So we're looking back, okay, this worked, what else can it work on? And then time went by and then I got pregnant. So that's again creation, where now I'm having a baby. So something new is coming in our life. So I hope that makes sense, because what I want you to do now is make sure that you go to zahinnanji.com and go to the Resilience Reflex Show tab, click on episode number 18, and make sure you download a worksheet, because Kathy and I will be going through our own examples of where we think we are in each phase. So, Kathy, you have your worksheet ready, and I'm just going to turn to mine. And before I do that, let me ask you this, Kathy. Which system do you think likes to stay in chaos? I think it's, woohoo, look, us, humans. Right?
I think, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And I do this like little kind of presentation, especially when I talk about change, and I always ask everyone in the audience, so which living system is out there that loves to stay in chaos? And first they'll be dumbfounded, and then they'll go, oh, of course, human beings, right? And I think it's because of a couple of things. Because we don't know what's on the other side of change, so we're scared. So we don't let go our fear. And I think the second thing is we doubt our own capability of moving forward with the change. What do you think about that, Kathy?
Yes, I think that's correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, like I said, please download your worksheet, because we're going to go through a great exercise here where Kathy and I are going to talk about our life areas and then figure out where or like which phase we are in each life area. So I'm just going to share again the screen with the viewers here. And I know you can see the PowerPoint presentation in the notes style, but here we go. So Kathy, let's start with where we are when it comes to love and romance.
Okay.
What phase do you think you're in?
I'm going to say I am in the growth phase, which seems a little strange. My husband and I have been married, it'll be 38 years this year. But what has changed for us is now that we've been empty nesters for a few years, kids are all educated. We're in a new growth phase of our lives as a couple. We've gone back to being just the two of us. But now we're hopefully, because we're older, wiser, we've been through a lot of life's, momentous moments. We don't have mortgages. We're financially more free, etc. Now it's the two of us to begin a new phase of our lives together again. So I would have to say that's why I think we're in the growth phase.
Okay, that's a good one actually. Yeah. Um, I think I'm in the complexity to turbulence. And by the way, you can be in a couple of phases at the same time because you may be moving out of one and going into another. And the reason I say this is we have a business that we run, and he's so busy with it, and so am I. And then we have a 10-year-old daughter, and so we're kind of busy with her too. Well, not kind of, we both are.
You are.
And then he has other obligations on the side where he volunteers a lot, but he's the chair for that, or he's the lead for that organization. So when he's called, he's called. So he's doing that, and I'm doing other things, and so we find that we really love each other's company, but because of everything around us, we don't get the time to sit and be together. So that's why I think we're there. Okay, so let's go to career. Where do you think you are there? Current phase?
I'm going to say where I'm both in, both my husband and I, creation and growth,
Mm.
because I've transitioned my business to more online.
Mm-hmm.
So it is evolving. Really now I'm starting over again.
Mm.
And the same thing with the business that I'm in with my husband. We've taken on a new product line, etc. So while it's an established business, it is also in the creative phase of rebuilding another side of it.
Mm-hmm.
So yes,
Ah,
but
interesting. I think I'm in the same phase when it comes to my business. I think it's more creation still. Um, a lot of people I think who know me will say, "Oh no, Zaheen, you're in the growth phase," and I still feel that in the last year, because I completely changed my branding, I created again, and with it came a new book, came this new opt-in gift that you see, new speaking topics. So now I find this year I will be going into the growth phase where now it's starting to grow in the area that I want. So that's great. Okay, so let's go to health. Where do you think you are in the current phase?
I have to say with that one, the maturity and complexity,
Mm-hmm.
only because I think at this stage that I'm at, things are ever changing in health for me. And I'm never sort of sure
Mm.
from time to time, um, just because of the stage of life I'm in. So I would have to honestly say that's probably where I am in the cycle with that.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Okay, for me, I know in December and the beginning of January with my health, I was in the chaos stage. And I'm going to be honest with you and the viewers. The whole year, like I said, 2015 was rebranding for me, and I did a lot, even though I kind of focused on just one thing, which was my book. But the book took 5 months to write, and then the marketing took another 2, 3 months. So I really didn't give time to myself, and I forgot to eat the right stuff. Like I would eat very healthy, but I forgot to eat the right things. And so December 25th, I had a concussion because I had a little bit of low blood sugar, which I've always had, but it just went, below what I need. And so yes, my life was in chaos. And then I looked back at to what well, I kind of moved into the droppings off, and I said, okay, I need to drop off some things so that I can understand where to take my health now. And it's interesting how just unconsciously now I do this all the time. I I I live in tune with the cycle because I've learned about it, and so I always want to be in tune. And so to come out of chaos, I had to drop the fact that I cannot always eat a quick breakfast that's low in sugar. I have to have a good breakfast that is higher in sugar, so it'll keep me through the day. And so I'll make sure if I have a smoothie, I'll put a lot of fruit in it, and I'll put some peanut butter and something in it, or almond butter that will keep me going. So those kinds of things that I've started. Okay, so let's go back to Kathy. So family, where do you think you are?
I'm going to say in the dormancy stage.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of just settled. um, we're at that stage. They're grown now. They've got their own lives. So we're just kind of at that plateau, and that's where we're at, and it's all good.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
good. You know, I don't know where I am in that stage. Just because I find that, I may say complexity, but then like my, daughter's 10, so there's no really issues there, like with kids or anything. Like I said, even with my husband, everything's just fine and jolly. His, parents are doing well, so we kind of check in on them. So I think we're there right now. We'll see what happens. Okay. All right, so let's see friends. Where do you think you are?
Friends, I would have to say um, probably in the growth stage because, again, we're meeting new friends because we've done more traveling. Um, we have a place in Florida now where we've met new acquaintances.
Mm.
So, yes, I would say in the growth stage in that regard. And it's great.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love
I'd
it.
say the same too, that I would say that I'm in the growth phase. It's just in the last couple, like in the last year, that I've joined a couple of associations. I have also made an effort, like I kind of set an intent that I really want to make some good friends. And it doesn't have to be 10, it can be 2 to 5, some good ones that I can bounce back ideas on. And it's interesting that, last year I met a very good friend and we used to go for coffee and things like that. And now she is, she has a book that she wants to publish. So I'm helping her out with that. And it's just fun, and we have the same ideas that we tend to bounce off of each other about kids and about life. And so it's a nice way to spend time too with a friend. Like it's not just about her book, of course, but it's about other things. So you're right. I think in there too, I'm in the growth phase. Okay, let's go spiritual. Kathy, where do you think you are? In which phase?
I believe in that one too. I would have to say growth phase also
Mm-hmm.
because I really have become very spiritual in the
Mm-hmm.
last couple years,
Mm-hmm.
which I must confess I was to a certain extent, but not to the extent I have become, and how much more important the spiritual aspect, meditation, things like that have become in my life in the last couple of years.
Mm.
So I'm still finding myself in that area
Mm-hmm.
and understanding where I fit in with
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah.
So I would have to say the growth phase with that one also.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you brought that up, because I think all of us are, never at a complexity stage, I think, when it comes to spirituality. I mean, unless you're a monk or something, because that's all, that's part of what you do. But
Mhm.
for, people like us who are, business, family, aging folks, I think we're always figuring out a way to be in tune with our soul. And for me too, I would say sometimes it's growth, sometimes it's chaos, because I do tend to wake up and meditate on weekdays at 4:45, but my mind is always running at the same time. So I really have to quiet it down. And in the evenings, I used to be very with my faith. We do also pray in the evenings, and I really miss that part because we would do it together in a congregation. And so we live, far away now, so it's kind of hard to go there. And I really miss that part. So that's why I feel that I'm more chaos there because I don't get to go there. So as well, I think we had a great time just going through the different areas of our life. And I hope that you, the listeners and the viewers, find this helpful because, hey, we're just like you, normal people, and we're going through our life areas and telling you what's going on in our life. And it's not always rosy. We do have complications and we work in that area. But if you live in tune with the cycle, I find that if you know that you need to drop off something, then you will always go through chaos and into dormancy and meditation and back into creation. So Kathy, let's talk a little bit about droppings off. Tell me what now that you've kind of taken a moment to go through your life areas and figure out where you are, what do you think you are going to drop off? And it doesn't have to be something like huge, which we have to emphasize here. Like if the viewers, if someone's having a bad relationship issue, I'm not saying to drop off a relationship, but I'm saying that what habit, attitude that you can drop that would make the relationship work. If it's your health, what can you drop off to make yourself feel better? So those kinds of things.
Yeah. Well, obviously, as a nutritionist, you really have to learn to listen to your body.
Mm-hmm.
Body will tell you what you shouldn't be doing if you listen to it and you journal,
Mm-hmm.
and it will give you all kinds of signs. So if you don't feel good after eating a certain food, or maybe it's at a certain time of day or something,
Mm,
drop that food
that's
for
right.
a
Yeah.
while and then go back and see if it has that same effect. Your body will tell you.
Yeah.
And I've even had to, as a practitioner, speaking of relationships, for a time, which was really, really hard for me to do, I had to back away from some family members
Mm-hmm.
for a time because it wasn't to my advantage.
Mm-hmm.
They were very negative,
Mm-hmm.
and that bothers me a lot because I'm a very optimistic person
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't be with them.
Mm-hmm.
And as hard as that was to do, I had to do it for a bit
Mm-hmm.
just to save myself.
Right. So,
Sometimes you have to do that.
so it's not like you dropped off the relationships, but you just kind of pulled away a little so that you could have
Yes,
your own space and kind of
yes,
figure out what it is that was, bothering you or going on. And
exactly.
it helped
Yes,
to do that. So that's what you dropped off was just that
yes,
habit or that attitude
right.
towards them. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I know, I completely agree. Okay, now my turn. What did I drop off? I've dropped off a lot of things lately. um, well, as I was mentioning before, where I think that the business is taking, growth, which is my speaking business. Um, I've started doing other things like an online course that I'm starting to pilot here next month in February. So I haven't had time to look into my like go ahead and find some speaking engagements that I want to do. And so I decided to not drop it off, but kind of like the, little tasks that I may not have to do. So I dropped that and gave it to someone else to do it for me so that I can concentrate on the bigger things. So building my own online course, coaching it to others, and things like that. And so I strongly believe that because being in tune with the cycle again, if you want to create, you have to drop off something that doesn't really help you go to the next level. and I strongly believe in outsourcing. And I don't have a team around me, but I have them far away, virtual. I don't even know them. I haven't met them. And that's one of the things I think as a business person you need to do, is to drop those things off that are, I say, $10, $12 tasks that you can give to someone, and work on the $100,000 tasks that give you more back, because that's where your strength is. Do you agree, Kathy?
Yes, that's right. And that's why I closed my bricks and mortar store
Mm-hmm.
to take it online because it was not serving my purpose well
Yeah.
anymore. So I dropped that off last fall. Yeah,
Okay. So there you go. So
yeah,
that you could again go into the creation phase
exactly.
and
Creation
start.
and growth phase.
Yes, that's right.
Yes,
Creation and growth. Okay.
yeah,
Well, look at that. It's already
yeah.
6:30. Oh, where did the time go? We were having so much fun.
Oh, great, great discussion.
Yes, yes. And so everyone viewing the Hangout, or listening to the podcast, please understand that this was just mini webinar that we wanted to give you through the Hangout here. And if you're listening to the podcast, then through the MP3 podcast and through iTunes. So just remember that you can get the same worksheet that Kathy and I went through by going onto the website zahinnanji.com, episode 18. Click on that and you'll see the download green button. Click on that and you will get your worksheet. So next time, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about, but we'll think of something. And it will be next Sunday, February, I believe it's 8th. No, 7th. And up until then, we will see you and take care. Goodbye. Thanks, Kathy.
Hi, good evening.